Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to a military service person. She is an Invicta uh, FC veteran. She's the one and only Chantel Killa Coates. Chantel, what's going on?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well. An honor and a privilege to have you on, and a big shout out to the one and only Gary Brown for setting this up. He's a gentleman and a scholar. That guy.
Yes, he is. He's an awesome man. Awesome
Absolutely,
man.
absolutely.
It's really hard.
Yeah, heck yeah, he is. So, I mean, I think we'll just gotta get it underway. But like, how did combat sports find when I guess not so killer at the time, but a young Chantel Coates?
Well, how I started was I was actually just looking for something like physical for me to do, just to lose weight and everything. But I
Hmm.
was kind of like a little, I was the biggest I've ever been, kind of like, kind of down, just trying to find something to lose weight. All my friends were doing like shows, like bikini shows and stuff, and
Hmm.
I was like the fat one. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do a show one time, but they're like, oh, we think you might be a little bit too bulky for it. So I was like, okay. So I decided I was at Impact, was like the largest free weight gym, and I was just
Hmm.
doing weights and stuff there. And then next door is Glory MMA. So I decided I wanted to try Muay Thai class because I wanted to try kickboxing because I love to fight. Like I always loved WWE type of fighting. So I decided to take the class, and it just turns out I just loved it. It made me so confident. I lost like a lot of weight, and within 6 months, I took my first fight, an amateur fight, and I won. So ever since then, it's just been just my way of life now.
No, I think it's pretty cool. Well, first off, I mean, it's kind of you're doing this to kind of transform your mind, your body, the soul, and like the bikini competition, like
Yeah.
not to say like it's a concession that you have to make, but like there's certain things that you kind of like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna like bare literally like my body, in front of a crowd of people. Like I'm gonna do it, and then to be told that's kind of like
Yeah.
and not
I never
fun.
forgot it either. As you can see, I still bought it. I still think of it, but
Yeah, but I mean, like that's not fun, right? But then Glory MMA. Shout out to James Krause and Zach, Mins, and yeah, and Megan Anderson would just fought for the world heavyweight, I mean world featherweight championship against
yes.
Amanda Nunes, right?
Yes,
And
yeah,
I want to say there one there's somebody from Glory fighting actually tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah, Grant. Grant's
Grant,
fighting.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
So that's cool. Now, I
We're
mean,
doing pretty well. We have I believe 11 fighters in the UFC right now. So James Krause is doing a very good job of building like a good team.
yeah, and it's not just like a good, like reputable gym with fighters in the UFC, if that's the pinnacle of where you want to get to in your career, but also he's kind of from what Don McGuire of the Fighter's Voice tells me, he's like a self-made millionaire. He's got a couple Metro PCS stores. He
Oh yeah,
owns the property that Glory MMA sits on, and the building and construction that was all out of his pocket. It's not like he's paying rent or anything like
yes.
that. It's and that's what
And
most
he
people.
pours that into us as well. Like what I love about that gym is not only just like the physical part, but we got a book club, like read a book once a month. He gives us very inspirational stories. We have like little seminars to teach us how to invest, if it's in real estate or whatever it is that we choose to do. And he's really serious about it. He holds us accountable. Like we can't be late. We can't miss a day. It's like serious for us. So I'm totally grateful for this.
And I think that's a perfect scenario, especially as you're trying to figure things out. You
Yeah.
had a bit of energy. You wanted to get yourself in shape. You had a goal, and not to say that like you didn't have it before, but like, there are other things that you've done, right, in your personal life, your other professional, vocations outside of just fighting. So I think it meshed really well, and I think that that's one thing that a lot of other not to kind of like disparage any type of gym's format, but the thing about like the traditional martial arts is like you stick with that martial art,
Yeah.
like forever. You stick with the dojo, and you may or may not make money, right?
Mhm.
um I think it's pivotal that you, whether it be in your gym or elsewhere, you should have some sort of financial deal, like what Miles Jury is doing with his YouTube channel, and breaking down like how much he made, what he did with it, and everything like that. Those are pivotal and crucial because I mean those are things that we're not even given in school here in the U.S. Like financial classes, management classes, and what have you, and then to get it in your gym for somebody that I mean, two UFC veterans in their own right, and people that
Yeah.
have made money beyond UFC.
Yes, yeah. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. So, what was that first day like at Glory? And did you know what you were kind of walking into?
No, I didn't know what I was walking into. I
That's
was
so
just
fun.
happy I got these pink gloves. I think I spent like 30 minutes taking pictures in the mirror. All my gear. I didn't even have my mouthpiece melted right because I never had a mouthpiece ever.
Yeah.
I just bought it and put it in my mouth.
Mm? Did you like choke on it? I know, like my first jujitsu class, I put it in and I.
Yeah, me too. I was slobbering. They probably think I was crazy, foaming out the mouth.
So brilliant. Shout out to Big Five because that's where you can get $30 worth of gear,
Yeah.
like and look okay. But like I didn't know it at the time. It's just like you showing up in like what is it? I thought Muhammad Ali uses Everlast and whatever. Like, oh, I'm legit, like
Yes, yes.
whatever. And then it's just like you get them like off end stairs and whatever. Like, what is this person doing? You must have never trained before.
Yeah, right, yeah. Every punch was a haymaker. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I remember like so it's so weird. Like so I had done like 6 months of jujitsu under a husband and wife, John, and each of them their own respective John Jock Machado black belt. Right, the husband and wife are both John Jock Machado black belt. Then I went to like Fight Academy in Pasadena where like Heinrich Wassmer and Savant Young are, and like this is a fight gym. And I'd never, outside of like Inglewood Scraps where literally I would like pull a dude's, like I fought like WWE style. Like I
Yeah.
would pull somebody's shirt above their head and just kind of
Oh
like
god.
uppercut them, and like I mean, if I'm fighting like a gangster and a cholo, like if six of his homies could jump in, well, guess what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna punch you right in the ear. I'm gonna like knee in the nuts, and that's just what's gonna
Yeah,
happen,
right,
right?
yeah.
So getting to Fight Academy, and I think my first like sparring partner
Uh-huh.
was James the Beast Wilson, who's a mountain of a man, and his highlight knockouts are like 4 minutes long on YouTube.
Oh my.
And yeah, and I'm just super awkward, and we're trying to punch
Uh-huh.
and then walk, which is I never do the rub the belly, pat the head, or whatever the heck, because I'm all like I'm gonna look stupid. Now I'm punching a giant and trying to walk, and he goes, "Hit me harder." I'm like, because I know there's a receipt coming. I
Right,
know it's gonna
yeah.
come back the other way. I'm like, like I'm punching, walking, and going like this.
Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, so your first like, and you did Muay Thai at first, right? That was the first class that you did.
Yeah, that's what I did first. So that's all I did for like the first couple years, first 4 years. I just did Muay Thai, and then once it's hard starting to get opponents and stuff, and to see there's more opportunity for me in MMA. Then
Hmm.
I switched over to MMA. I started doing more jiu-jitsu and MMA and stuff.
Now, did you have a? I mean, I guess like a kind of glancing knowledge of like what Muay Thai was. Like, okay, we've seen boxing growing up, right? You've seen film or whatever, but like for whatever reason, here in the U.S., Muay Thai and kickboxing never really caught on. So, did you know what it was?
I really
Yeah,
didn't know.
yeah,
Until I took the class, and then Zach Cummins really gives like a good history of it. He even plays the music and stuff, and
yeah.
I learned a lot about it. Because then
That,
because I kind of just don't like to do things. I kind of want to know what I'm doing. So like, what does
yeah.
this dress on me? What do these arm things mean? So I kind of got the history of it.
That's awesome. And shout out to Zach for, employing those things because I think that, it's a funny one, right? Because like, one time as like fans, right? They go up to a particular fighter and they're like, "Oh, did you get it?" Like they just automatically assume you grew up watching UFC and Pride in '92, and
Mm-hmm.
there you got fighting. But it's like, there's world champions that don't even like know who Claudel is and what have
Right,
you, and that's not a prerequisite.
right. I agree with you. I was
Hmm.
that person. I'm like, I don't know who these people are.
But that's cool, and I mean,
Right.
right, but that's even cooler because, like, to me, one of my favorite, actually, my favorite fight promotion is Invicta because, I mean, in many ways, even after Chris Cyborg, even after Ronda Rousey and Misha Tate and a litany of other, I mean, Charmaine Tweed,
Uh-huh.
she's awesome, right? But
Yeah.
like in many ways, even after Amanda Nunes, right? Women's MMA is much like that of men's, but 25, almost 30 years ago, where, people still have this weird kind of relationship. Like, they don't want to see females get hurt and what
Yeah.
have you. But, like,
Not
I think
lady
it's
fight.
right, but those are the things that kind of propel. And if you look at any Invicta card versus like a UFC, Bellator, LFA card, or whatever, the finishing rate tends to be higher in Invicta because of that chip on the shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
proud to be a part of that program, that organization. Shannon Epps is really good. So she
yeah.
teaches very well, and she's very fair with the matchmaking. And I just love that organization.
That's yeah. As do I. As do I. Now, you started in Muay Thai and then you did Jiu-Jitsu. So, did you have kind of? I mean, it's a weird transition to go from a striking, sport and then a grappling, and the same thing, vice versa, grappling to striking. It's a weird kind of deal because, like, even like punching to throw a punch. Well, you can't lean that way in Jiu-Jitsu because you're gonna get swept and what have you. You can't
Exactly.
fully. Yeah. So, did you have any of those kind of like weird kind of concessions that you kind of had to make?
Um, so I guess my fighting experience is more of like I kind of just go into it.
Yeah.
So um, my training at first is I went to Glory beginning, and then I took a break and
Hmm.
went to a different gym. Something was because Glory's kind of far away from me,
Yeah.
so I moved to Leavenworth. So
Okay.
uh, I was training here at like a family martial arts with Jeb Childs, and I did more of a like defense. So I was more defense, like takedown defense and stuff. And
Ah.
I was so confident in my striking that I was just doing more defenses, getting back up, getting back up, getting back up. So that was help working out for me for a while. And then, and then after that, I started doing my doing jujitsu tournaments and stuff. I became the wrestling coach. Like my hometown was very grateful and helping me out, and they had their first. This is their last year was their first year having the all women's wrestling. So they, just had me on there, just be representative. So I trained with them. So that really amped up my wrestling skills. So I've been the wrestling coach for 2 years. And, but we don't have a lot of girls. They have like two girls, but they all make it to state, all qualify, all place, second place as freshmen. So big girls, but we did it. And so that kind of just helped. Now it's like now people think I'm a wrestler. Now that I've been training, like I'm like, no, I just, you know. That's how that kind of went. Then so it was kind of that type of a transition for me. So more, not getting taken down to wanting to take down now. So
I think that's brilliant that, they trained takedown defense first because,
yeah,
of course, like when you're wrestling, like I want to take somebody down, right? I want to do the doubles and the blast doubles and all that jazz and whatever. But I mean, takedown defense, right? Even like, even a novice striker with takedown defense can become a world champion. Look at, I mean, Derek Lewis is what, top three heavyweight in the world right now,
yeah,
and that's rudimentary striking, right? And takedown defense is what propelled him to where he is, and he doesn't even care about being champion. If you check out him on the Rogan's podcast, he doesn't even care about. He's just like, I just want to provide for my family. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, Craig Claiborne, shout out to Craig. He says, "Good morning, great to see you guys. Rock on, Chantel. You got this." It's
Uh-huh.
pretty cool.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Now, um, talk to me about that first fight. Like, as somebody that, I mean, like you said, you like to fight, you like to get into a good scrap, right? But this is different, right? Because, flailing around and everything like that, you don't have to go 3 minutes, right?
Mhm.
You could just do that and hopefully you get it, or hopefully you guys tap out into exhaustion in a street fight.
Yeah.
That's my deal. It's just like flail, 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 right? So the amateur fight where there's like rules and shin pads and people watching, like they paid to see it. What was that like?
You know what? I feel like my first fight was probably my easiest because I didn't know what to expect. It was probably borderline street fighting. I just she was a real strict like Muay Thai fighter, so she just kept,
Wow.
very traditional. She just
Yeah.
kept coming forward to me. Doesn't matter how many times I was just punching, I was punch her, and then catch my breath. But it was pretty fun. But then after that, I knew what I did. After that, I knew what to expect. And
Uh-huh.
it seems like the harder the fights get, the more nervous I am, the more harder it is for me mentally. I don't know. I mean, I'm more relaxed and stuff. I know how to perform better, but it's just like like my debut. It's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be on Invicta. Now there's people, there's TV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pressure. Now people are counting on me, and more exposure. More people know me, so. The first fight,
Yeah.
no one even know who I was, so it's just
Now, what was? I mean, was it the fact that you put all the training into it, and then now you're doing the thing that you were training for? Was it the lights? I
yeah,
actually
I
like.
like the lights. I thought I was the only one. I'm like, man, the lights. I don't know, something about the light just being on there. It's just
Yeah.
the light was so bright. So
I actually, because there's a lot of where I am in Southern California, a lot of the amateur, fight promotions are almost that of pro because they've
yeah,
got the lights, they've got the production value, and at the very least, if you can't purchase a stream, obviously this is all pre-COVID, but
yeah,
if you can't purchase the stream, they have their own YouTube channel or
yeah,
Facebook,
yeah,
and I think that especially for a fighter's development it's crucial because when you get to the show, you can't prepare for like the Apex Center where there's no fans or
yeah.
nothing like that. I think it's just as much as high level training. Well, and if there needs to be more interviewers and podcasters covering like the local scene, and I've heard things about like, oh, I don't do it because they might after their first fight go and quit, but then you get like future UFC world champion, Bellator world champion that is fighting on the indie scene, and it's just like, I think it's absolutely crucial to kind of replicate and mimic the big shows because that amateur, that regional fighter, that regional pro is going to know what to expect when, hey, they get the shot that could change their life forever, the big money contract, and or at the very least, an opportunity to get the big money contract. like you're gonna need to know how to perform, just like in the fight. You're gonna need to know how to perform. Well, you're gonna know how to perform on the social media, on whatever, promote yourself and everything, because you can't look for anything to do it. And if you do, obviously you're gonna get a manager, but the manager can take a chunk out. So,
Right.
as much as you can be able to do, right, before you get to that point, it's cool.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I
Yeah.
totally agree, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just funny.
They
And
put in
it's
they put in hard work as well, you know.
yeah.
Some, I won't say all.
Some, yes, some, right? There's some nefarious types, which I mean that goes with the territory in everything, right? Like there's some good people that mean what they say and say what they're gonna do, and then there are some not,
I
and
noticed that James does that, like, well, like a lot of our amateurs and stuff, that he makes them like video. They get like a promo videos. They
yeah,
do interviews, like even at, because I think he's through the FAC. So like when they're walking in, like just it looked like just like professionals, or So
yeah.
he does a very good job at helping them building them to, you know, like building them to be professional athletes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because everything is crucial. I mean, I look at MMA and combat sports almost like wrestling, right? Where they say you've got a bump card, right? For pro wrestlers, them taking the slams on the mat and everything like that. There's going to be a point where your body is just like, nope, we're not doing this anymore, and gives
Yeah.
up, right? Like if you see any of your favorite wrestlers from the '80s, like wrestling a local indie show, chances are they're not leaving their feet, right? Like if
Right.
you go see Honky Tonk Man, he's not leaving his feet. The whole yeah. So with that being said, the same thing with MMA, especially when you factor in stuff like CTE and all that jazz. Like you have from the minute you start till the minute you hang them up, you might have 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right? If you get more than that, kudos to you. And hopefully you've gotten a big money paycheck or world title fight, something in that 5 to 7 years. Otherwise, you don't have anything to show for it, right? So,
Yeah.
like it's absolutely crucial that you kind of figure those things out before you get to where you are. And it make not to say it makes it any easier, but it's just like you're not gonna feel like the business used you, at
Yeah.
the end of your career.
Exactly. Exactly. You gotta Once you put in, you gotta expect it to come back to you. If not, you really just waste your time.
Exactly. So after that first fight, you fought like a traditional Muay Thai
Yeah.
gal, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you were happy with the results, right? That was the first win. Uh, but what was the kind of feeling that you had coming out of it? Did you kind of see where you needed to improve on? Did you were like, no, this is what I like to do, and like this is the style of fight that I'm going to continue to kind of build upon. This is my foundation. Like, what was the feeling?
Um, I feel like I was kind of I was on my high horse a little, and
Oh,
I felt like there's some little small things I wanted to critique, like keeping my hands up and everything. More because, like I said, I was just and I dropped my hands.
yeah.
It's my very first fight. Like I said, I was only training for like 4 or 5 months or something like that.
Wow.
Went in there, and so my next fight, I lost that fight, but I ended up going back beating her up. But it's just for I was gassed out.
Hmm.
And she's doing more cleansing. She was a little bit more using her traditional more. So that weight on me was really just keeping me more tired. So that fight really showed me where I really need to work on. So I just continued to train and work on it. But I just have the love for it. Like
Yeah.
win or lose, I'm just gonna keep working and keep going and keep trying, learning new things. Just keep, So I was kept getting better because I just loved it. I couldn't stay out of it.
I think it's absolutely cool, right? Where you kind of went through waves because you started going to the straight gym weight deal and then finding glory because you were trying to find yourself, right? And then now
Yeah,
you find out something that you like 5 months in, get the fight and what have you. kind of on a high horse, like, and that happens, right? We all get like that. We go like, hey, I'm doing this well, kind of back off. Like, I know what I'm doing and what have you. And then, we eat a good, like, pie crow variation where humble pie and crow put together and we end up eating it,
Yeah, exactly.
and it teaches you yet another lesson in life.
Yeah. That's all they are. Very small lessons, It's just all how you want to use it, And I just use it for my good, and I try to stay positive and just keep growing from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in your in your kind of training for fights and just training for life, because every bit, I think every bit of every principle of combat sports and fighting is a real world, like, you can parlay that into with a real world or whatever that means, right, into
Exactly.
life. If you're in a submission and you breathe through and the person gasses their arms out and then you end up sweeping them and submitting them, right, well, it's just like not to break, not to fold under pressure, right? So when
Exactly.
you go out into the real world and the real world is pressuring you, you kind of know how to breathe and then transition, right? So
Yes.
what are, like, some of the lessons that, like, the combat sports kind of training and everything have taught you?
Uh, like I said, I feel like I live through. I feel like martial arts speaks to me. This is the way I live through. That's how I understand life.
Hmm.
So I know that, like, basically just got to keep going. Just like you talk about with submissions, or if I want to pressure a fight, like fighting a punch or something, like I have to maintain being consistent in life, or just be consistent in life and consistent in whatever I do. I can't give up too early. Like sometimes I will have the submission, but I get tired and I want to let go, or I don't think I have it. I feel like I'm losing position and I let go. But I learned that if I be consistent with it, then I get what I want. Or, maybe I might have to redirect myself. Like if I want to hit this person this way, but I keep getting hit with a hook or hit with something else, I
Hmm.
know I can't go this way. Or I need
Hmm.
to protect myself when I go this way. But the simple fact is, like, I know my end destination and I'm going to be consistent and I will get there no matter how long it takes me. So I feel like that's my biggest key that I got
Yeah,
from my martial arts that really relates to me and everything that I do.
I like it. That's, again, that's a parable, not just in fight but in life, and they marry each other,
Yeah,
and to
exactly.
to kind of piggyback, Uriah, this is actually a cousin of mine, so shout out to Uriah. He says, take life, fuck it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I like it. That needs to be
Yeah,
a shirt, Uriah. Shout
yeah,
out to you,
right.
good sir. Now, I mean, as somebody that is heavily involved in martial arts as you are, I mean, did you, like, watch, like, Bruce Lee movies growing up, or like Jackie Chan? Did
Yes.
the, okay? Did they
Mhm.
have a impact on you? Because, like, for me, it was like wrestling. I wanted to be not just Bret and Owen Hart, but like their father Stu that used to choke
Yeah.
out bears. Like a regular dude with good training can choke out a bear. I was
Right,
like,
right, right.
that's my
I was
stuff.
more WWE fan too, but later in my teenage years, older teenagers years, I liked it. Like a lot of Jackie Chan, like the drunken one.
Drunken Master,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's what I kind of do. I still mimic a lot of that when I fight, just being more flowy with my punches and using my body how it's supposed to go and to counteract things. So, but I really love WWE. I thought I was China.
Yeah. Oh, don't treat me like a woman. Don't treat me like a man. Treat me for who I am. Yeah, hell yes. Hell yes.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
love you, cousin. Love you too, bro. Love you. No, but okay, so let's talk some WWE. We didn't think we were gonna do that on an MMA podcast, but that's where we're going. So what what era did you find, like, the WWE in pro wrestling?
Um, I'm like the Stone Cold area, the
Okay,
Undertaker era. Yeah,
Attitude Era, yeah.
yeah, yes,
And
yes.
was Stone Cold and China your people? Did you have other favorites?
Yeah, I love the Undertaker. Sorry, I like Mankind,
Hmm.
and shoot, I love Shawn Michaels. I even met Shawn Michaels. So
Really?
yes, and I was in Camp Arena when Owen Hart passed away as
Whoa,
well.
whoa, whoa! What?
Yeah, I was there
Okay,
when he
do
spoke on the thing.
I mean, I've got goosebumps. Would you mind telling the story?
Well, I know he just. We didn't know what happened at first. We just seen him when he fell all the way down and stuff, and then they came and covered him and bring him out, and they shut it down for a little while and brought him out. But then it just continued on with the show. Like we didn't know that he passed away until later on.
Yeah, I heard about that where they were like they didn't want to stop the show because they felt like it was a Vince McMahon call where they thought that they would have like some sort of riot in the arena by, because that was like maybe the third or fourth match, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty early in the show.
Yeah. So wow, that's wow, you were there.
That was happening here in Kansas City, Camp Arena.
Wow. So I mean, I hear like this is so my son his name is Owen because Brett didn't go with Woods. Like so this is
Wow.
wow, man, that's nuts. So the crazy thing about it, I've read Owen's widow Martha's book. I've read Brett's book, and there's
Okay.
I think Martha's like book is very. I mean, she didn't like the pro wrestling business, so it's kind of skewed into the negative light. But if what is said is true, that there was like a divot in the ring from where he fell, and he saved referee Jimmy Corderas as he was falling. Like he basically kind of yelled to him as he's falling to his death. He
Oh, wow.
tells the referee to kind of like move out of the way, otherwise he would have fell on top of him. And
Mm.
Jimmy Corderas moves out of the way. He hits his like chest on the turnbuckle, like the not the pad, like the steel buckle, and then flips back. It's scary. Like it's uh yeah,
Yeah,
not
that's sad, unfortunately, too.
wow. That's whew. I mean, how did you feel after? Like that had to be weird and surreal to see it on the news going home from the event, and you're like, I was just there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was. Yeah, I couldn't believe it as well. I was like, oh my gosh, we was there.
Yeah.
I knew something was wrong, but like I said, the light they kind of stopped for a second. Shut down. We seen the ambulance stuff came in, so and we didn't see him come back out. So we figured something got hurt, but we just thought he just got hurt like regular pro wrestling, like people just
Hmm.
hurt. So, but we didn't know he passed away.
Wow. Did you
Moment.
know? Did you notice like a divot in the ring? Because I hear that talked about a lot, where there was like where he fell, there was like a hole, and everybody had to kind of work around that divot in the ring. Did you see that?
Mm, so I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a,
I was
it's a
young.
tragedy. It's a tragedy for sure. Still, it's not fun to think about. Right? That's where like I think that, and then the Benoit deal. Like that's when I was just like, I got to take a break. Like
Yeah,
this doesn't feel right anymore. Like I'm gonna take a break. I took like a year off, like no wrestling, which is weird because I've literally watched it since I was like pre kindergarten,
right. Yeah,
and yeah, so it was
I went
weird.
back. I think maybe about 4 years ago when Ronda Rousey came for the Women's Evolution in Kansas City.
Hmm.
I did go to that.
Oh, nice.
As an adult, I went there to support her and see her. It was pretty powerful. It was like all the
Yeah,
women came out there. They had,
yeah,
yeah, it was pretty cool. So,
yeah. I mean, I may be sitting on a Survivor Series 2018 chair right now.
no,
Because
really.
yeah, yeah, like let's do that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I
There you
see
go.
it.
There you go. So I'm just saying. Man, that's I mean, pro wrestling, man, pro wrestling, and
Yeah,
it's funny. Like I like so most traditional like MMA fans or even mixed martial artists, they kind of don't like it. They don't like the Conor McGregors or the Tito Ortiz for various different reasons. They don't want their WWE or wrestling in they're MMA. But the thing about it is, it's kind of happened. Everybody that has implored a bit of pro wrestling in whatever they do, they
Mm,
end up being like the pinnacles of the sport. They rise above the sport, right? Like Ali, Muhammad Ali, as a young Cassius Clay, was
yeah,
watching in Kentucky, Gorgeous George and Classy Freddie Blassie, Mike Tyson, growing up watching Bruno Sammartino, right?
yeah,
There's been countless iterations, and most people think like MMA. I mean, like pro wrestling and MMA, that you got to do the 1980s Hulk Hogan promo. Let me tell you something, brother, and whatever, and do that. But like, no, it's just like I think The Rock and Austin put it the best, where you're you basically turn you up to 10 on the volume scale, and just do that, and that right there, you have the ability to connect with people, right? Like, most people in modern day life, like if you talk about yourself in the third person, they'd be like, whoa, what the heck is he doing? But when The Rock does it, it's
right.
awesome, and that's one of the reasons why he's one of the, if not the biggest star in Hollywood right now. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you know
I feel like for me, how I perceive it as is that they're just making a verbal contract with themselves. You
mhm.
know, like Satan goes, or
Yeah,
and trying to live up to it, and it's just verbal. Like when you speak, it has just a little bit more power. So that's how I look at it.
that is absolutely the way to look at it, and is Conor McGregor going to be on anybody's all-time greatest lists of greatest fighters of all time? Maybe, maybe not, right? Has Conor McGregor earned more than Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar combined, and a lot of that income coming outside of fighting?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And that's the deal. How could you use what your name recognition and notoriety is to, when it's time to hang up, or concurrently through your career, how can you use it to, you know, open up other opportunities that may not be there just working a job or whatever,
right.
like that's what it should be.
It's like how you reach out to the people, how you inspire them or impact them in any kind of way. And you can do it in a negative way too, and
Yeah.
still have a big name, But
Colby Covington, what?
yeah,
But I mean, he's living the gimmick. Like, anybody that it's been around him during this whole time, they're like, he's a good dude. But when he turns it on, like him or Segudo, when they
yeah,
turn it on, you can't get him out of it and what have you. But even Kobe's deal, right? Where Dan Lambert, when he was on the fringes of getting cut by the UFC, Dan Lambert actually ran uh, an angle in Impact Wrestling because Bobby Lashley was wrestling there and taking fights and training
yeah,
there at American Top Team. So Colby was talking to the wrestlers and was like, and whatever. And then soon thereafter, he cuts that promo in Brazil after beating Damian Maya, like, you're filthy animals, which, again, I wouldn't do. You're in a foreign country filled with Brazilians and you're going to sell them. Like, you need those cops to get you out of the damn arena and not have people shoot
right,
you. And yeah,
yeah,
not the smartest, but I mean, it's kind of worked for Colby,
yeah.
Yeah, just saying. Now, Art Jones 77 on YouTube says, "At what age did you know you want to fight?" And he's sorry if it's already been answered, but what
Hmm.
age?
Um. Well, I didn't start fighting like as an amateur, training until I was late 26. So when I started 26.
Wow.
Yeah, but I never had like a fist fight outside the cage or nothing. Believe it or not, I wrestle and I fight. And I was very a rough house, so I always wanted to do that when I was young. Just like I don't know, like I said, middle school. I really like sixth and seventh grade. I really was like a big WWE fan, and I really
Mm-hmm.
was like I used to make little rings outside, bring my mattress out and some water hose to make the ring, jump off of it and stuff. So we, my little cousins, but I just always just been a rough house. Even when I played basketball, funny story, I always fouled out. I had very good defense, couldn't shoot, but my defense was good, and I fouled out every time. And that's when I realized, um, I don't know, I didn't wrestle in school, so I not until I turned 26, and then I was like, I felt like this is what I was supposed to do. Like, this is what I like to do. Everything comes natural to me. It's just everything makes perfect sense to me. It just comes easy to me. So like I know I prayed before I even like trying to figure out what is my purpose. And then
Hmm.
I think I read a Les Brown like
Yeah.
sermon or something, and he says, just do what you like to do. And I just did what I like to do, and everything just came to me, like my fighting. So I own like a youth gym. So I train a lot of the youth in boxing and kickboxing. Like everything just comes so easier for me when I'm doing fighting stuff. So that's I don't know what age I wanted to do it, but that's the age that I started to do it.
Hey, it takes a little time sometime. I don't think I was I might have been late 20s, by the first time I took my jiu-jitsu class, and things
Yeah,
happen, right? Like you're trying to figure out yourself, and then, stick a 200 some odd dollar a month,
right.
gym fee, and it's just like it takes a little time, but once you find it, it's just like you never want to get off. That's why there's like subcultures, right? Where, in MMA, like you wear the gear in jiu-jitsu. If you're a jiu-jitsu head, you're perpetually walking around in flip-flops, just not
Yeah,
knowing the next time you're gonna have to put somebody in rubber guard. Like
yeah,
it's something that flows through you once you hit. It's like it's so my mom is from Fiji, right? And we have this saying of like when the island hits you, right?
yeah.
Doesn't matter what ethnicity, whatever, right? Like when you get that island hit you, you're gonna start maybe smoking some stuff. You're gonna start listening to reggae music perpetually. You might grow dreads. It's just when that island hits you, it hits you, and that's kind of like jujitsu. That's kind of like MMA. When you find it and you're really meant for this, that's what happens.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. That's what happened. So,
Yeah.
like, I even like, I think after I made my the problem I was having is like, do I want to continue to work?
Hmm.
It was cutting in with my training and like what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I've been working for the. I was contracted as Fort Leavenworth it's not my military, but I was working for the government. But I've
Yeah.
been there for 11 years, 11 and a half years. And like, I just choose like, what do I really want to do? Like, I have to be focused on my designation. I can't have these side things, even though it's benefiting off of it. I just have to, if I really want to do something, I got to do it. So I decided to quit my job after 11 and a half years just to fight. Not even knowing how I'm gonna do it, like how I'm gonna afford this. I I didn't care. All I knew is this is what I want to do, and everything's been paid for me. Like everything. I mean, I work hard. I still have to work and grind and everything, but it's
Yeah.
all towards my goal.
I think that's brilliant, especially now, right? Where the last year of 2020 and some of it bled into 2021, where a lot of people are kind of forced to figure out what the next step is, right? And you made this kind of step out, whether it faith, whether it be volition, whatever you want to call it, but you step out and you had some seniority at your job, and they had probably you were living comfortably, and then you're like, but this is not my life, like, and that's the thing. It's like I remember there was a particular time where I was working for a corporate marketing I mean, like a market in the marketing division of a tech company,
Uh-huh.
making the most money of my life, but was unhappy. And the only thing that would get me there is one of my coworkers did jujitsu as well,
Okay.
and we would go 1 hour lunches, corporate lunches, but we'd go do jujitsu for an hour. So
Uh-huh.
that was, the last part of it was just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And the company ended up getting bought out, and that ended up being like it was like it was a mercy kill for sure, because I was done before, like dead man walking or whatever, and they
Right.
did that, and
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, cool. And um, I showed up to jujitsu like the next day and whatever. I didn't know how much longer I would have, because I had to figure out real stuff and like, how are we going to pay for this place now that I don't have the income and what have you? But, it was just kind of figuring it out. And sometimes you learn more about yourself trying to figure it out, and it leads you to the very thing that you were or wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Now, Don McGuire, and also a Kansas veteran himself of the Fighter's Voice, he wants to know, how much has Shannon Knapp given her as far as her knowledge and faith and ability given you?
Um, a whole lot. Like when I got the call from her, I was really nervous, and I didn't think I was ready. And she kind of felt that, It's like that's why I didn't get the contract at first. I had to fight for the contract, and but she makes sure that my opponents was just as fair as I was. It was both our first times. So she when you get there, they really like build you up, and it's just they're just a lot of powerful women there, a lot of them showing you the way, and you're just all there together. And so I even afterwards, she congratulates me, and she still helps let me know when I'm ready, and just to build me up the right way. And I just respect that, and I felt like the knowledge that she gave me was really good. She helped me make sure I'm in the right weight class, let me know. This just explain it to me all how Invicta works and everything, and how they're there to build up every woman, and it's not like she's just gonna give me like a cheap fight or nothing, but it's just very fair. So yeah.
I like it. That again, and even finding out about what the inner workings of Invicta are. Oh, my pug is literally like, he's down here chewing on his toy and pulling it down all of the wiring. Yeah, let's see if he wants to make a.
Yeah, let's see him.
Yeah. Here we go. There we go. Pugsley. That's Pugsley. Pugsley fucking. Yes, that's Pugsley fucking Woods, and he's a motherfucker, is what he is. Yeah.
He's so cute.
Yeah, so most people are like, "Hey, I saw the podcast. What's the thing tugging on you?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Pugsley." Yeah, meet Pugsley. Yeah. We didn't think you were gonna get a run in from a pug, but that's what happens here. And Gary Brown says, "Hey, from your favorite manager."
Yes, thank you, Gary Brown. He's awesome. He contacted me and asked to be my manager, and he really works hard for me. Give me all my sponsors. Never Tap is one of my sponsors, so shout out to Never Tap. Thank you for your services as well. And he just really helped set up my fights for me, and really works hard for me, training camps and everything. He introduced me to you for this awesome podcast. So yeah, thank you again, Gary.
Yeah, shout out to Gary. That's a good brother,
Yeah,
and even
me too. So
yeah, absolutely. And Don McGuire says he was the photographer of 35 out of 40 plus cards for Invicta. So there you go. Yeah.
Did you get a shot of me, Don?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. You can't. Yeah, we will see. Let's see how the DMs get filled up with pictures. Hopefully, with shots. Those are awesome, right? Gift from out of nowhere. I love it.
Well, thank you, Don, for your taking the pictures. That's a very important part.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, Invicta again, to me, yes. Other, the Bellators, the LFA just introduced over the last year their inaugural strawweight title, right? And Bellator, UFC, they have female titles, right? And not to say that those titles aren't prestigious, but for me, Invicta is the pinnacle, right? So, fighting with Invicta and Sharon Knapp, as you said, it's got to be a huge honor to be there, where so many Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg, they, Charmaine Tweet, like there's so many
Megan, and
Megan Anderson, yeah.
So
That's amazing. So I mean, what is the overall experience? Not just like the Shannon app, but like the Invicta experience. You talked about it briefly, but what is the Invictus? What makes that place so special? Because we get it. Like as a fan, as somebody who watches it, there's something special about Invicta. So what makes it in your eyes as somebody that has fought there? I mean, all of your pro fights have happened there. What is it about Invicta?
because for me, it's just because it's especially for women, it's just something that is designed for me.
Hmm.
I mean, I understand they have like Bellator and LFA and everything, but those are a blended with the male and the female. But this is
Hmm.
something directed just for all females, uh, and it's a very good show. I feel like, and it has a powerful message with it. That we can do it as well. For me, it's just very motivating to see women all over the world, to unify and just make a good production. I feel like, working together. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's how it makes me feel.
I love it. I love it. It's weird because they've been in the news because they're no longer going to be on UFC Fight Pass, but wherever they end up, I like it because, and I will follow them to wherever they find out, and they get the revenue share of 100% of the revenue share of wherever if they do like their own streaming service or what have you like
Yeah.
it's all going to be there. So like I want Invicta to get to a point where I mean if you fight in the UFC or Bellator, cool, but like I want like the Invicta fighter that stays with Invicta their entire career and they're financially able to do so,
Yeah.
so
I would like that
yeah.
too.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And Don McGuire says, I appreciate it, and he will see what he has in his camera roll. So
Ooh, go
there you
down.
go. Yeah. Yeah, and it's all family. It's all family, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Now, obviously you're well into your pro career. You've, you know, climbed mountains and pathways that you didn't think you were going to do when you got into it. So,
yeah.
and then also a coach, right? You're fostering like the next generation of fighters or just people that can defend themselves, right? In the youth, right? So, what has been the most gratifying part in your kind of journey through MMA?
Always the give back. Like seeing the kids, like little girls or even little boys,
Hmm.
just work really hard for their dreams or whatever they want to do. Coming to see me and I get to work with them. It's just, I don't know. I feel like that's just my favorite parts, working with the kids and giving back to them. Or even I have a women's kickboxing class. I even love that. I feel like this is my favorite thing to do, is just like giving them the confidence to do what they want to do in their life. I feel like, to change some emotion, you have to change the motion, so you got to be more physical and then smile more, be more happier and release that energy. And so, providing the opportunity, or showing people the way is my favorite part of this.
I love it. I love it. Now, obviously, times get tough. Training is not always fun, right? So,
Right.
eh, what do you do for fun outside of fighting? Is there books that you read to kind of get you there? Music that you're listening to? Movies that motivate you? Or just like movies that, like, I know I turn on when things get all weird and I get in a funky kind of mental, spiritual deal. I will put on a fail video and watch people fall on their butts for 8 minutes and I get myself out of it. So,
Yeah.
what is it for you?
Um, Family. So family is very important to me. So just family helps me just to appreciate the things that are there. So I don't know. So I it helps me give that gratitude. And once I start, then I'm just happy by everything, and then gives me back to my motivation. So I feel like that's probably the best part of it, for me. That helps me. I do like to hike and take little walks and stuff. That's still going to me appreciating like just nature, just the peace,
Yeah.
So those are what I like to do for fun.
That's crucial. That's crucial. But also, it has like a added benefit that hey, if your cardio is better because you hiked on a trail for 4 hours and got lost in nature,
Yeah.
guess what? Your breathing improves, your cardio improves. Maybe if there's an altitude change, that also improves.
Well, I live in Kansas, so it's not really no altitude, but
Uh,
it's okay.
no,
But there
no,
is a lot of, you know what? I feel like I'm a nature person, but I don't like a lot of wild animals. So, but I feel like it helps me in the ring because I'm aware of everything. I can see
yeah,
people.
yeah. Yeah, I I like to kind of get out into nature. I think I took on Sunday just a drive. Like I made it more than halfway to Vegas just on a whim. Right, being in the house for a year, kind of cooped up, kind of
Yeah.
gets you stir crazy and whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I almost made it to Vegas. Not that I had the intention of going, but that's it.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like camping and all that jazz, I'm like, nah, because I mean, theoretically, if you're a human and you walk onto somebody else's property, and in some deals, you might be staring at a gun and
Mm.
whatever, them needing to defend themselves. So you go into a bear's house, not expecting to get your face scratched off. You have a really unhealthy relationship with reality, right? So like, the hell am I gonna set up a tent and whatever I mean, literally like nature's house? Those bears, those foxes, those cougars, and what have you.
Even snake,
No,
I'm afraid of.
snakes. Yeah, and not on a plane. You don't have Samuel L. Jackson to, get it together. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, just saying. So yeah, I like the theory and the concept of nature, right?
Me too.
But going out there, totally different deal.
Right.
And Axl Rose said it best. Live in L.A. This is a jungle, right? Welcome
Right,
to the
right,
jungle. You're gonna die. Yeah, L.A.
right.
L.A. is a
You know,
jungle.
the military is the only thing that really helped me with my being at the nature. Like they're like, oh man, there's bugs here. They don't care. They don't care if there's a snake there. They don't care about anything. We have to get down. We have to get down. So
Hey, that's it. That's the name of the game. That's why you guys and gals are, some of the most badass fighting force in the world. So
exactly. So my units, they're gunners. They shoot the cannons and stuff. But I'm just support. So I'm just like the admin. But so I'm the only female in this whole battery, right? And they're all badasses and stuff. But so it's like great. I get to say I'm with them, but I'm really
yeah.
not. I just sit in the office, but
Hey, you know
I
what?
feel like a badass when I'm with them.
Hey, just like I revert back to like Pauly Shore in the army now, right? Where
Yeah.
like he's around badasses, providing them water.
Right?
Hey, you can't be a badass without water. So I, by de facto, am badass too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like bam, boom. What? Yeah. Now, obviously, Chantel, you've done a lot, but like you said, you have the support system of your family, right? So
Yes.
take as long as you like. Let's get some shout outs out of the way. Sponsors, family, professionally, personally. Go for it.
Okay, so I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Never Tab, Women of Combat, which is an awesome sponsorship as well. Punk Gunk is another one. I gotta think of their name. Sorry. Coach Shelton, T1 Diva. So thank you to all my sponsors, and I just recently got a new sponsor with the tea company. So thank you to you guys as well. My manager, Gary Brown, my gym, Glory MMA, James Krause and Austin Ford, and Jeb Charles. Thank you as well for all my training and everything you provided for me. Of course, to my family. Thank you to my family. I just recently had a baby, and my two sons. So I love you guys, and to everyone who supports me, my hometown, Leavenworth. And thank you for having me on the show. And so of course I want to give my praises to God and to everyone out there. So thank you guys for commenting and logging in and watching me on the show.
Yeah, which they can do not just now, but like forever, because it's
Forever.
on the Facebook and the YouTubes and all that jazz. So, and even on Twitch, like
Yeah.
your kids can be like, "Hey, my mom, Twitch,
Right,
that's
right.
happening." Yeah, you got some cool points, and you can never spare yourself of cool points,
Right.
especially as a parent. So, shout
Oh
out to that. Yes.
yeah.
Now, Chantel, thank you for being on. But for those who want to get in contact to follow the life and the times of Chantel Killa, where can
Yeah.
they find you
They
on
can
social
find me.
media?
My Facebook is Chantel Codes. Also, my IG is Warrior Queen KC. You can follow me on Snapchat at Nikki C7, and my Twitter is Chantel Codes. So always follow me, and I keep you guys updated if anything new's coming, and I'll always be posting some training or whatever I'm doing. So just follow me.
Yeah, I have. You guys should too. Again, Chantel, it has been an honor and a privilege, but it's been an honor and a privilege to have you guys chiming in. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And Chantel, you're subscribed, right?
Yes, I am.
Dang right she is. So be like Chantel Coates, be like me. Go ahead and give this guy a subscription. But if you don't believe our words for it, and I don't know why you wouldn't, well, here's Pro Wrestler Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you